Hello. Today has been a day. Can I move this so that it's not whatever? It's just going to be there. Normally, I think it's taller, isn't it? Or maybe I'm sitting closer. I don't know. Anyway, um, we've had a little bit of technical difficulties, but here we are. We have made it just a smidge late. So please let me know that you can hear me and we're good to go. Um, and then we're gonna jump right in with some fun Christmas in July. Okay. Thank you, Hockey. So, oh, I gotta scoot in. Am I gonna move? Yeah, I don't know. All right, there we go. Okay. Um, so you're getting to see me in a state that normally normally only my husband sees me in, which is wet hair directly out of the shower with no makeup on. But I was I was running out of time basically. I knew it was going to be tight to like get a workout in and then get into the shower. But then I ran into issues and my phone, I had to restart it. It was freezing, and that's what I use, as you can see. That's what I use for the desk camera. So it was a challenge, but nonetheless, here we are. So you might be asking yourself, why are we doing Christmas in July? We are doing Christmas in July because you're going to get to know because you're here early. Honeybee is having a Christmas in July sale this weekend. So I believe it is 20% off. So now you'll know early and you can put all of the things that you want in your cart. And then when the sale goes live, you'll just be able to buy it. So I am going to use this Good Tidings, which it has a stamp, a die, and a stencil. So we are going to use these. I think we're going to, the card idea I have in mind, I think we're going to do two of them, but we'll see how it goes. So I am going to grab a little sticky mat because we're going to do the stenciling and then, well, no, do we need to stamp it? I do need to stamp it first. You could probably use it without the stamp, but I'm going to use the stamp because I like a bold black outline. So let's do the stamping first. Do any of my, um, we can use this one. I had a different live yesterday because I am teaching for a class with Altenew this fall. And so we did a live yesterday. And because the live was the what time it was, and then Peanut had guitar lessons and I had to still pick up Jelly Bean. I did not clean up. I didn't clean up. So I basically have just shoved it all into a box on my floor. Um, oh, it's a mess, but I will get to it someday. Someday I will clean it up. All right, so I'm going to stamp. I don't here. Oh. I don't know if you guys can hear that, if it cuts off the sound. But I got a phone call, which is weird. I don't normally get a phone call. All right, so this goes like this. Can we flip this? No, I don't think so, but I bet we could do it maybe. I think I want to have two. Maybe I could do it. I don't want to stack them like that. Maybe I could do it like this, where one's in the background of the other. So like the top is full. All right, we'll play around with that. Oh, you heard it, but you can still hear me. Thank you, Alyssa. Appreciate you. All right. So I'm going to stamp this kind of more in the center. I feel like we should just get the bigger Misty and stamp it at the same time. Like, I feel like that would be more efficient. But I can't use that big Misty because that big Misty has other things in it. Oh, Lord. So we're going to use old Misty, old school Misty. And I knew I cut some half sheets, but where are they? So now we'll stamp it here and then I can flip it and stamp it there. I like that. Okay. And I am glad to know that I am in good company when it comes to cleaning up, because y'all, it's a struggle. My husband, like, refuses to even come in this room. All right. So, did you guys have a good week? I can't believe we're already halfway through another week. My little jelly bean starts dance today. And my husband sent me a text this morning. He's like, she's so excited. She talked about it the whole way to daycare, which is adorable. Okay. I'm going to do it again. Hello, Kathy. You guys know I like a bold outline. There we go. And then I'm just going to make it nice and easy. I'm going to flip this around so that I can stamp it. I always do like to check to make sure I have clearance, and I do. So I'm just going to stamp it down there. Oh, you had a very busy weekend, camping, and your youngest turned 13. Well, that's exciting. That's a big birthday. My oldest will be 13 next year. So I don't know that I'm right. Double digits was like, I can't believe we're here. And now we're heading into the actual teen years. They're a different kind of animal. Your daughter enjoyed dance until your ex complained about the cost. Well, it is unfortunate when they are discouraged based on things that they don't have any control over. Bonnie, which black ink do you prefer? I have used Lawn Fawn for years. The ink smears on me with light Copic colors. Okay, I have not. I love Kelly Marie, who is the owner of Lawn Fawn. She is a absolute delight. But truthfully, I have never used their ink, so I cannot speak about theirs. I do like Honeybees, but you do want to give it time to dry before you go in with light colors, or you want to just hit it with your heat tool. And I think that's true of pretty much any of the inks on the market that are like a darker black. I don't think it's true of Memento Tuxedo Black, which is like the OG ink. But that one is not dark. It is not dark black, so that is why I don't use it. So I would rather have to hit it with a heat tool or give it a minute to dry before I went in with lighter colors. But I have not really had any issues, and I've been using this one for as long as Honeybee has had it out. I also like Hero Arts. I'm trying to think what else. Gina K's Amalgam ink is good. That one you do have to heat set though. Um, yeah. So I can't, I don't know about Lawn Fawn because I haven't used it. Jen Shirkets would be a great resource on that, because I'm sure she uses it and she does a ton of coloring in all of her classes. Okay, so let's get, what did I do with that? You guys saw me have it. Here it is. I have to let it over. I let it dry overnight and it smears. Oof. VersaFine is not for alcohol markers hockey. It's a good ink, but it's not for alcohol markers. Okay. So now get over here. So one of the things that I do love about Honeybee stencils is that they are clear and they do the whole picture. So like when you look at this one, this is layer one. It says up here, I'm sure it's hard to see, but this is the sprigs back here, but you can still see the whole picture even though it's not cut out. So it makes it so easy to line them up. So I'm going to take my face off because you guys would, I'm sure, much rather see the project than this. So that way you have a better view of this. Okay. And I might have to tape it because I am using a full sheet of paper. I might have to tape it down just a smidge. Just want to make sure I'm getting them lined up. So it'll hold to the sticky mat here. And then I am going to just grab a piece of tape for at the top. There we go. Okay. And now, did I have a game plan for what I was doing today? Sort of. Did I prepare anything for it? Absolutely not. If we don't know each other by now, who's that, Michael Bolton, then you ain't never gonna know me. All right. So do a couple of browns out. I'm gonna do, I think, the pine needles. What is your tape brand? This is Pixie tape, and it is my favorite. All right. So I'm gonna do the pine needles with. Oh, thank you so much, Jan. I know I do love a steam card. We just did one though not too long ago, didn't we? We're gonna do that. Okay. I'm looking for, like, is it Lucky Clover? Evergreen Bough? What is it? Let me check this stack back here. Okay. Because I want the holly to be like yellow greens. So that is gonna make me happy with the rustic wilderness. And I'm trying to just get them all together. Don't be apologizing for all the questions. That's one of the main benefits of us being able to chit chat while we do a live. I buy mine from, I think I got mine from Honeybee because they carry, like, most of the time I get my consumables from them. Okay. Hello. Oh my gosh, Sam. Hi, how are you? So this is probably some, well, you guys are not going to know this because she is not a crafter. Samantha was one of my one of my youth group kids when I worked for the police station. And I don't think I've seen her since, like, the last police versus fire baseball game. Well, even though I can't see you, it's good to see you. All right, so pine cones. I think we'll do brush corduroy, vintage photo, and ground espresso. This one is a little, I miss you too, sweetheart. It was a wonderful surprise. Thank you so much for popping in. The scorched timber is a little bit too cool, and I think pine cones are normally warm, or at least they are in my world. So I'm going to do that. Ooh, that was a horrific noise. And then we're still looking for, did I put it somewhere else, like, that I do not know about? Where would I have put them? All right, even though this is not the normal color that I would go to. Oh, I bet you they're underneath here. I bet you they are. I bet you they're underneath there. Hold Hold on. I'm gonna raise you up like Josh Groban. Yep. There's that one. There's my mowed lawn. Just close your eyes. Okay. So now I need two more to go underneath there because we're crooked now. All right, there we go. Okay. So we got the rustic wilderness and the mowed lawn and the twisted citron. This one, I don't know where my other colors are. But we're just going to have to go with it. They could be on this absolute disaster of a desk somewhere that I'm just not seeing them. So we're going to do the lumberjack plaid for the berries, and let's go with festive berries for that. And then this is going to be the holly. We got the pine cones, we got the pine needles. Even though that's not ideal, it's fine. We'll make it work, and that should be it. Okay. Alrighty. So now we get to pull out all of the brushes that go with it. So here's the red, here's the dark red, green, 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 peacock feathers, pine needles. Do you guys, let me ask you this, do you guys have a color, like you have one brush for every color, or do you have one brush for a color family? How do you do it? I always find that interesting. I have one brush for every color. And I think that's part of my full set syndrome, and that is my own fault. I don't think that's necessary, but I am who I am. Oh, brown, brown, brown. And we got the greens, we got the reds. I think we have everything that we. Okay. For family, I don't have room for a brush for every color. That totally makes sense. I want one for every color, but I don't. I totally get that, Alyssa. Both I have half for every distress, but bigger brushes, I have a color family. Okay, that makes sense. So you guys are like a pretty good mix. Also, can we talk about this throwback? Look at this. They had these made like 5 ever ago, and I still have mine. It's got my protein coffee in there right now. Okay, now I got to fix you on my desk because we're cattywampus. Is that it? There we go. Okay. You have a brush for every family, but you want one for light and one dark. One brush per color family for dyings, one for oxide. Yeah, that is the thing that is tricky, is you do have to have one for oxides and one for inks, because they don't mix. So that does get a little challenging. All right, we're going to do the pine. Where can I set these? I'm going to set them over here. What is protein coffee? Dawn, it is. It's not my preferred way to drink coffee, but because I have recently been diagnosed with a hypothyroidism, like I have, it's called Hashimoto's, it's an autoimmune disease. I cannot lose any weight. So I have to completely change the way that I approach my diet. And so for that, my husband very thoughtfully bought me, what is it called? Javi. And it's like it's a coffee concentrate. And so um I mix mine with vanilla protein powder, um some sugar-free creamer, and what else do I put in there? The Javi is the salted caramel. Oh, it's soy milk because that's less calories. So, and then I put it all in a magic bullet, throw some ice in it, and that is what I drink. But I only recently found that combination that I like. I was struggling for a long time to find one. That is my coffee is hands down the hardest part of changing what I am consuming because I like my coffee light and sweet, and, uh, my, well, my weight does not like my coffee light and sweet. Alright. So I put down the peacock feathers, and now I'm gonna go in with the pine needles, and I'm concentrating this at the base and just kind of, because this brush is a little bit bigger, I'm just letting it kind of float up. Here, they're cut off, so I'm gonna take them all the way to the edge there. But for the little edges, I'm gonna leave it that peacock feathers. And then while this is gross and dirty, I am just going to pivot so that I can line these back up here. And I don't have to clean them in between because I'm not going to. Okay, there we go. Put that into place and bring my colors back. Okay. So Hockey, I know we've talked a little bit about your art journey and that you used to paint and all of these things. Do you find that you prefer stencils to coloring now? I think stencils have been widely popular because they don't necessarily require the same dexterity as coloring, and because of the great hive minds that do these designs, you can get pretty detailed. Um, no, sir, stay there. You can get pretty detailed layers, um, and without really having to do all of the same work that you have to do with coloring. But I enjoy the process of coloring. So I will I will always be a colorist. Even when like my daughter is like, "Can we color?" My husband's like, "Why do you always have to color them like that?" And I was like, Because I enjoy it. I like coloring." So I like to add all the different layers of colors. I understand that's not for everybody, but it is for me. Now, these are the holly leaves. It blocks out the berries. Okay, so you still want to hand color. I like that. I like the amount of detail you can get from stencils these days. Dawn, I do agree. It is very nice um, to be able to make a fast card because you have the access to the stencils. All right, so I'm going to start with the Twisted Citron. And this is not, I'm going to die cut these out so I don't have to worry about going over the edge. But if you did not purchase the dies, you would definitely want to make sure that you taped this off or masked this off so that way you weren't getting green where you didn't want it on your background. Okay. I gotta hold that in my hand. I don't like that squeaky noise on the glass mat. Kathy said she likes stencils when I'm brain dead. Same girl. Same, same. I could not agree more. All right. So now this is like one layer of the ink, which you could totally leave it like this, but I like multiple layers of color because I feel like that's kind of how I'm going to get that real dimension and definition. So this is my mid-tone. This is my mowed lawn. So can you see how I'm kind of pivoting the neck like this? So I'm only touching down with this part and it's giving me the control to just put it where it's kind of coming out from behind the berries. So I'm still leaving the edges nice and light. I'm just getting it at the base and probably about half to 3/4 of the way up. So we're still going to have nice and light tips, but we're going to have some darkness here where it's tucked up underneath the berries. And then you can use like this size brush, or Honeybee has, hold on, I gotta find the green one, yo. Okay. Honeybee has these different sizes. There's 5s, 10s, 7s. So you could also use these to get in there. I'll show you how to do both of them because I understand that it's different for everybody. So this is the size 10. This is the big one. And so I'm actually going to start right on top of the berries and then work that out. So that way I have a little bit more control over where the color is going. If you don't have a place to start off of the page, then you can pick it up, kind of swoop it off on here, and then take it in. And then just, you're going to do those circles just like you would if you had a big brush. We can see how much kind of intense color we're getting there, which I love. Now, if you don't have these smaller brushes and you don't have maybe the dexterity to use them and you want to use the larger ones, again, we're going to hold it like this. So we're only touching down with the top and we're still going to start on those berries and we're going to add it in. Same thing down here. I'm starting on the pine cone and then bringing it up. So see how nice and blended those are. We have the lighter tips and then the darker. So now we're going to flip it to do our other one. Just want to get them lined up. There we go. Now we got to work in reverse. So I do think they are pretty colors. We talked, yeah, we talked yesterday in that live about how like I love green. Hunter green was one of my favorite colors when I was growing up, and my mom, my mom hated green. But then they let us pick the colors of carpet that we wanted in our bedrooms, and so I picked Hunter green, and God bless her, she let me have it, even though I knew even though I knew she didn't like it. Uh, so it's still green, by the way. It was green until I moved out, and they never have not put in new carpet since then. So it's still green. Okay. Where? I guess I'm just stacking them up over here. Is that what I'm doing? I think so. I need this one. This is the one that needs to be stacked. I tend to use the larger brushes, but not because they're more accurate, but because I'm impatient. Like I want the quickest buildup of color. Okay. Lime green is your favorite color. A bedroom was painted with it. I even found hockey pant shells and lime green and bought the Team Australia jerseys. That was lime green yellow. My goodness. I don't know if I could do the lime green. My ex-husband and I, when we were first married, we were like repainting the colors of the houses, in the house, and so this part is still the leaves. Sorry, let me get it lined up here before I keep talking. There we go. So it's still the leaves. It's just I don't even know how to, it's like the detail layer of the detail layer of the holly. You'll see what I mean once we do it. Um, But all right, somebody remind me because I don't even remember what we were talking about. I think I'm just going to go in with the mowed lawn and then the rustic wilderness. We'll skip the twisted citron. We were talking about colors. Oh, the bathroom. So we were painting all like the house. We were changing up all the colors in the house, and so we were gonna do the bathroom green, like a pale green, and we picked spring green, which ended up looking like fluorescent green on the walls. It was not a good look. So I hope yours look better than that. I hope yours look better than that because ours was not good. You loved strawberries and painted your kitchen cabinets red when you were first married. Yeah, that's good for you. That takes a lot of courage. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just kind of going to bring up the darker color from the middle. Okay. Flip it around here. Not flip the stencil, Kelly. Just flip the paper. There we go. I almost dropped it. You know what a disaster that would have been for me? Because I'm sitting crisscross applesauce and I'm tucked all the way up into my desk. Okay. So do you guys make your Christmas cards throughout the year, or do you do them kind of all at once? I definitely am a all at once. The thought of sitting like that makes your legs hurt. I'm sure I'm gonna like get rid of all of the buffer in my kneecaps, like for sure, because I do prefer sitting this way. But you know, I think it's gonna go regardless. Will there be links of products later? Yes, there will be. I always link them, but after we're done, because sometimes I end up changing the game plan partway through. So, but I will link them. Okay, so let me get this lined up. This is the pine cones that are open. Eight. And for our pine cones, I plan to make all year and end up racing at the end of November, beginning of December. Same, Melissa, same. I do the same card, but I make them bit by bit, cutting all the pieces out, then chain assembly. Yeah, I do the assembly line as well if I'm making them. But typically, like this is the honest to God's truth, like I make them throughout the year and then like whatever I have. And most of the time I don't mail them out. I know that's wild because this is what I do for a living, but I don't mail Christmas cards to like everybody, though I do certainly appreciate the ones that I get. um I more or less hand deliver the ones that I have. Hello, Elizabeth, thank you for joining us. All right, so now this gets a little tricky with the adding of dimension because they're two open ones together. So at this point, I usually do try to look and see if there is another like layer. For the pine cones, there is not. So I'm going to do my best to add some dimension with the smaller brushes. So like this is my mid-tone. I'm going to bring that in from the top. so that the edges are lighter. I still want that to be the case, but I'm going since this one is seated in the front, I'm going to try to add a little bit more shading to this back one, and that can be a little tricky to leave a lighter edge, but it does help to push one behind the other. And then for the ground espresso, we're gonna do the same thing where we're gonna bring in that darker color kind of down from the top, and then I will put it in the same places over here to help kind of push that into the background. Planner slash procrastinator queen here. Yeah, I'm girl, I get it. I also am on the struggle bus. I feel like I would say probably like 80% of creative people are like creative in chaos. And then you have like that maybe 20%, and I think that's generous based on all the crafters that I know who are actually organized. And like Wendy's one of our designers on the honeybee team. She is like, I could never make the way that you make because I have to have it clean and tidy in order to be productive. I can, and mine is, if I only made things when it was clean and tidy, we would never make things. I would still be a full-time emergency dispatcher. Okay, bring that down. I'm organized in my mind. Does that count? I always know, like, my husband, for example, he views the room as like it's just a total disaster. That's why that wasn't getting darker. I was like, why is that not getting as dark as the other one? Because I was using the wrong color. Um, he's like, it's a disaster in there. So when he brings something into the room, he just, throws it in here. Whereas, like, I know that it looks like a disaster, but I also know where all of my things are. And so when he brings stuff in and just throws it wherever, I'm like, hey, dude, like, I know it looks like chaos to you, but I know where my things are. So cut it out. All right. So that is these. And now we move on to the berries. So the berries is going to be another one where there we go. Okay. And for this one, we are using Festive Berries and Lumberjack Plaid. Now, mine for these are both little. But again, this would be a good time to bring in those kind of smaller ones. I'm gonna go with a 5, I think. Thank you so much, Shelly. I do like a lot of color variation. I know not everybody does, but I do. All right. So these are Festive Berries. I mean, how could we not pick this color, right? Okay. And then I'm going to try to do it with this one. I don't know if it'll work or not because it is pretty small. You really got to just totally tilt it up. So let's try this one and see. So we all know that marker or blenders work better when they're seasoned. So I do try to kind of get in there and get some ink on them before I take them in. Okay. So those are little berries. So, funny enough, I don't think I've ever actually used this set before. I've always liked it, but I think that there was always other things that just kind of got in the way of me using it. Also, I will Saturday is my day on the YouTube channel on Honeybee, so I will have another Christmas themed project that day. If you guys are like, yes, I totally want the Christmas inspiration, you'll be able to check that out on either my channel or the Honeybee channel. Okay. Do I know if Distressings will be on sale this weekend? All right, hold on. It's Tamara, right? Right? Am I remembering? You said it rhymed with camera? Camera? Tamara? I think that's how am I saying it right? You have to tell me. Um, so I don't know. Sometimes they do throw in some consumables, but um, I am not 100% positive. And I don't think Lisa is here today. I have not seen her in our little chatty chat. Um, but I can maybe ask her and see. You could check I can maybe ask her in the Honeybee group and you could check there. Would love to see a Christmas card that could be more mass produced. Carol. Okay. Um, all right, so I'm gonna do the darker spots here with just the lumberjack plaid. This is like the detail layer. So I'm gonna do the darker spots here because I'm gonna add the highlights with my white gel pen. You know I am. Okay, so there's that. Carol's issuing me a challenge, a mass produced. So what do you guys um what do you guys view as easy to mass produce? Like, are we talking you would like do all the die cuts and put them together? Or do you think, because I think like stencils would be pretty easy to mass produce. Like here, if we were using one of these images for each, um, we would be knocking out two at a time. So the Marion Bright die with an embossed background. I do think I did that. Didn't I do that last year? Okay, so that's the last one. So now we have these, and I can never leave well enough alone. So I am going to add just a smidge of my own things to make it mine because I have problems. Uh, so, all right, let's see. Looking at this, I know right out the gate that I would add more shading to, that's the wrong color, to this pine cone. So right away, I think we're going to do that. Do I have a 59 out? These. What was I coloring with this stuff? I don't know number. There it is. 59. Okay. So I'm pretty happy with the way that this looks. Let me rate this up for you. Like, I'm pretty happy with the color variation that we have been able to get, but I am going to go in and add just some extra shading to this little pine cone, and I am going to use the E50s family for that. Oh, get in focus. There we go. But I'm not going to be crazy. So I'm just going to take my darkest color right up underneath these little layers. I do have to go kind of around where these little hollies are sitting. I'm not really doing any flicks. I'm just kind of doing little lines of color. You'll notice as we're getting further down the pine cone with the lighter colors, I'm adding less and less. So this one, we're gonna add shading all down the side here where the one is in front of the other. And then the same thing, just where it's underneath, and we're adding less as we get into those lighter areas. Okay, this one is the underneath, so that would be dark as well. Does Honey's Bee sell Cloud Whip? Susan, you're gonna have to rephrase that for me because I don't know what that means. All right, so now we're going over that darkest color, kind of blending it out, being a little bit more heavy-handed up here, a little lighter-handed down here where it's our ink blending is lighter. Okay, and then the last color, really, you're only going to see it kind of on these lighter areas, but I'm not covering up all of the ink blending. So this one also needs the 57 to blend this out. So here's one of the problems that I run into myself, um, which is once I add the shading to one thing, like I want to add it to all the things, but you don't need to add it to all the things. So you can see the difference here between these two and just going in and adding that extra. This starts to take a more realistic look. Not that this isn't pretty, it's just a way that you can kind of take your things up a notch. And again, I have to add that shading around there. These ones that are kind of hooded, you want to add shading to those as well, like where you can see the underneath of the pine cone. Just a little bit. Oh, thank you for the compliment, Bonnie. I appreciate that. Um, Susan, did I miss your rephrasing? I don't know what Cloud Whip is. Does anybody else know what that is? I don't. It looks like whipping cream. It looks fluffy and you can spritz it if you want to add color. I don't know what that is, but I am intrigued. It's a texture modeling paste. I do have See, I think that was, like, in vogue for a while, the texture modeling paste, but I think a lot of places have gotten away from carrying it because it just wasn't selling. I know some of the ones By the way, did you get the Olo stand? I saw you purchased it. Yes, I did, Brandon, thank you. Um, s So what I was talking about with the paste, like I know some of the ones that I have purchased dries out super quickly. So if you're not using it pretty consistently, like maybe a mixed media artist, those can be challenging to use. I do have two from Tim Holtz that I like. One of them is the translucent, and then the other one I think is the snow paste. Hi, Gretchen. Don't worry, we're still here. We're still here making. Okay, so I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna go in and add shading to all of the different things. I just think making those pine cones kind of a little bit more dimensional is going to help us quite a bit. I am going to do all of the sparkles and the details and all of that jazz, but I'm going to do it after I die cut these. So let's grab this guy out of here. And I think we need to pick our sentiment as well. What did I do with the, oh, Kelly, what did I do with the stamp? It was here and now it's gone. Is it underneath here? It is. All right. Good tidings of comfort and joy. Happy holidays. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let me get him die cut first so that I can see. Hi, Wen. I was talking to them about you. You missed it. And I was telling them about how you always tell me that you could not create in my crafty chaos, that yours has to be all cleaned up. You're an anomaly. All right, so let me get these. Let me get these die cut. I gotta get out of my crisscross applesauce here. Okay, there's one. Thank you so much, Sherry. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for coming. Okay. Now this one. I think. Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay. Oh, Kathy, thank you very much. It is ILNP. She said she liked my nail polish. ILN. It's actually sitting right here. It's this one. It's Rogue. And then the base coat I have underneath it is this one. But they look like rainbows in the sun. I like their holographic nail polishes the best. Okay. Now we've got those die cut. Now, let me. Didn't I have a piece when we started? I bet you I left it in that Misty. I sure did. Okay. So now let's see. We got this going on here, which I do like. And then we talked about doing, maybe I could do one like this. Like this. And this one here. and it would help it to look fuller. Can I just completely flip it upside down? Move this guy down a little. I don't like that as much. Hi, Karen. Don't worry about being don't worry about being late. All right. So what if we ignore that and do this one here? We do like a caddy corner design. Nope, I don't like that. Now we're back to this. What about a diagonal, maybe? Hmm, that one's not bad, but no, I don't love it. This I don't love. Oh, well, sometimes grandkids can be like that. All right, what if we do it like a border, maybe? Like in the middle? That one's not bad. What do we like? What do we look like as a landscape card? I do have the pine needle embossing folder, but I am a clean and simple girly. Oh, that one's not bad. I don't mind that so much as a landscape card. It's kind of hanging down. I'm not opposed. I do. Let me see these sentiments, what we got here. I think down here is where the gap is. So here, like I looking at it vertically, I don't like it as much. But looking at it horizontally, it does look like more like, like swinging swag that you would see at Christmas time, maybe on a mantle or kind of like that. If I want to do that, I got to move you over just a smidge. This looks empty there. So we got to scoot you back, maybe just up a little higher. Okay. What if you put one on top and one on the bottom with the flat edges? Yeah. So Karen, I did look at that, but here's the problem. When I do that, one of them ends upside down, and it's very clearly upside down, which I don't love. All right. Hello, Rochelle. Okay, I do think we could put the sentiment down here. I like good tidings of comfort and joy a little bit more. I also so I do like that because it kind of connects the green elements. So maybe I will trim it to be a little bit I want to be able to see the berries. Okay. Okay, that's not too bad. And then we could mat it with the green and do the sentiment. I think I'm just going to stamp it in black on white because our background is white and that seems to be working for us. Okay. So I do like the way that these are looking. I'm going to glue this one down. Bye, Kathy. Thank you for joining. Okay. Okay. And now we'll do this one. Like that. Okay. Now, I think I am going to trim this down just a little bit so that we have room for that frame. Okay. I'm going to trim that first so that I can make sure that I have a straight edge. There we go. Okay. So there's 5. Oh, I think I'm going to go the full quarter. Now we'll do it half and half. So we'll do an eighth here. And then we'll do another eighth on the other side. That way we can see the green really well. And we'll be able to pop it up and make it a little bit more lively. You know, it's a little bit more interesting. So I don't think I want to trim any off the top, though I do have just this little teeny tiny piece that is sticking off. Hi, Erica. I'm going to grab that. All right. And then I'm going to look to see what does that look like. It makes it look more like it's in the middle. So I think I am going to have to take just a little, like the teeniest, tiniest little bit off of the top. I still want that kind of swoop of the garland, but I need to have more empty space at the bottom than I do at the top. So there's that. Okay. Now let us double check this. Okay, I'm happy with that. So let me I'm pretty sure this is from Spellbinders. I pulled it out of my scrap pile, but I am fairly sure that this is from Spellbinders, the cardstock, and so I will double check before I do my link list. Okay, so we have that little bit of green around the edge, which I think is looking super cool. Let's do just a smidge, a little bit of blending in with the die cuts. Obviously, we don't have to blend them into the background, but I am going to hit up some of these areas where one is laying on top of the other because I don't really love that. So I'm just kind of picking some colors that I know are going to be in that same kind of color family, and I'll worry about matching them as I go. Now, some of you are gonna be like, "Well, how do you know what color to use?" Well, because I've just been doing this a long time. That's really what it comes down to. So looking at it, I can eyeball it and know that this looks pretty similar to a YG67. Now, that's not always the case if we run into, um, some areas where it's colors that I don't use often, but because I do use these ones pretty often, I can pretty easily tell which ones are gonna match. So you'll notice that I'm not necessarily even going for a leaf shape, I'm just trying to find a natural stopping point. Hi, Linda. So this one here, this would also come out like that. Um, I can see this has a little bit of a red, little berry right here. Then thankfully for the browns, I already kind of have a good idea because we added that shading, what that family is gonna look like. Um, so I'm gonna be able to fill in some of this. Alternatively, if you're like Kelly, I'm not confident in my ability to, color that background and have it match the um, pine cone, which I totally understand. It can be a bit difficult. This was just like when we did the video on the Monday night premiere, and I told you that you kind of have to texturize it just like the piece that's behind it in order for that to work and kind of blend seamlessly. This is really no different. So this is the gap there. For the sake of this, I'm going to fill this in, even though I know that's not part of the pine cone, but having that white gap there looks very strange. Okay. The other thing that you can do to help blend them in is, instead of worrying about the texture of the color behind, you can add some more color in between the pine needles. This is too light. This is a BG75. So I'm going to, we're getting closer here. Where's my 49? There we go. So we can just go over this, add some more needles to help blend that in. But you are going to, once you do that, then you are going to want to hit up kind of these other areas so that they look as full. You don't want to do one and none of the others. Does that make sense? Doesn't have to be perfect. Don't think that it has to be perfect. We just want them to all be looking similar. And these little guys over here. This is another great way to, if you have like your stencil slip up or something, especially with these smaller areas with the pine needles, if your stencil slips and you get color where you don't want it, this is a great way to cover that up too. Okay, so now it's definitely looking fuller because we've added that, and I am loving that. This area is pretty much completely blended in, so now it looks like more like it's one piece. which is typically for me my goal for my goal. And then we are, of course, going to add some extra things, some shimmers, and some white gel pen. So I'm definitely going to add some shimmers to my berries. Let me, this one might be close to out. Okay. Don't forget when you're doing this that distress inks do reactivate with water. So you don't want to just kind of be crazy all over the place with what you are adding because you will, there is a chance, I shouldn't say you will for certain be able to see it, but there is a chance that you will be able to see the lines that you put in there because you've reactivated that ink. Okay. So now we're going to go in with our white gel pen and add those highlights. Even on the ones that are overlapping here, we want to add those highlights to those as well. So that way everything is, cohesive. Okay. And then you can also add them to, your pine cones if you wanted. You could add some highlights. We could also add snow to them, but I'm actually, I think, gonna save the adding of the snow for my video this weekend. Um, since I will be making another Christmas card. So I'm definitely adding them to the areas that are of the one on top, and then kind of just these lighter areas for the one over here on the right-hand side. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the way that that is looking. If you got too heavy-handed with your little spruces, um, you could go back in also with a white gel pen and do some flicks through there to break up the color, but I think our spruces is what's bringing everything together. So I don't want to risk that. So here it is on our green background. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that into place. And then the last thing that we will need to do is our sentiments. You could also, I'm not going to do it today, but if love the little gemstones, you could, put those on where the berries are or where some of the berries are. And nope, we got to scoot it back. Um, to add a little bit more glitter or bling to it. I am going to add some more some more glitter or bling to it. I'm just not going to use gemstones to do it. Why can't I get this straight? Does anybody know? Hi, Brandon. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there is that. And then we are going to do the sentiment. And I kind of want it to sit here, here. I think because this is a little bit higher. So I'm going to have it sit there, I think. So, you know what? Let's try. I have this extra little piece. Let's try, because then the green would kind of blend in with everything instead of the white. Hi, Anne. So let's try that. All right. I am going to turn on my heat tool. I don't remember last time if it blocked it out or not. So I'm using our Brilliant White pigment ink to stamp my sentiment. And I'm going to stamp it twice because that is how I prefer it. Double check. Okay. Okay. Now, back to our die cuts. I'm pretty sure it's this one, but I will double check. And it is. Okay. So I know we are wrapping it up. Don't run away because I'm the only one in here. Betsy and Lisa aren't here. So don't run away because I got to pick a winner. So stick around for that. I'm only one person. I can't do all the things simultaneously. Oh, there is that. And I know that people have asked in the past about like whether or not it dulls the paper. It does a little bit. So I just rub, I can't show you, but I just like kind of buff it on my pants. Um, and it usually gets rid of any of the extra so that it's more of its true color. And then we'll stick that there. Am I happy with that? Maybe bring it down a little bit. Okay, I think that's good. Let's try it over here just to be sure. Nope, I do like it over here. A little bit down. Weird for me because I don't normally put my sentiments on the left. Okay. That was the quietest heat gun you never did hear. Oh Lord. I do think it blocks it out. Okay. Let me get my tweezers. And okay. So I lied because I said I wasn't going to put gemstones on it, but I am. I'm also going to add some Stardust Stickles to the berries because I love all of the glitters. You can't convince me that doesn't make the card better. Yeah, you can't convince me glitter doesn't make everything better. Okay, and now I am going to attempt to find my gems in. Oh, I found some pearls. Will that work? That will work, I think. The Holiday Wishes pearls. It's like right along the color scheme that we've got going on here. So I love the kind of old gold because it's a very neutral. What do we want to use? Okay, let's just take them out. Let's just take them out and look at them. Okay. I do like this green because it matches very much our spruces. But the red is kind of, oh, I think I like the gold best, maybe. Not silver. Me and silver, we're not friends. How many holiday cards do you make each year? As many as my job requires. Yeah. I love Jesus and I want to celebrate the glory of his birth. But sometimes because this is my job, I feel like I make so many Christmas cards um that I definitely make more than I need. I think we're gonna go with the gold. Oh, excuse me, sir. Okay. I'm risking my nail polish sticking to it. And then a medium. And then a little guy. Up. I think up. And then we'll do a little. I do try to add them in odd numbers. Okay. Come with me. You're being difficult. There we go. Okay. Does that fill that out nicely? I think. No, I don't like that. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I've made an even amount, which we cannot have. So we will put this one down here. Okay. There we go. Would you consider a video with your holiday cupcake stamp from Honeybee that you designed? I don't believe I have a holiday cupcake stamp from Honeybee. I did have one with Picket Fence Studios, um, and they may still have them in stock, but they are changing their business model. So they are no longer going to be offering individual stamps. Amy, it is not a new stamp. It's actually from last year or the year before. So we can see all the glitters on there. I think it came out super, super cute. Of course, I will update the links and um, I will update the links and I will put the photos. Wait, what aren't we offering? I was on the phone and listened to you at the same time. What aren't we offering? What did I just say we aren't offering? Oh no, Wendy, not the honeybee, picket fence. Um, so I think it came out super cute. I'm really happy with the way that it came out. So let's pick us a winner. So I do need to scroll until we randomly find a winner. And that Alicia, you are our winner. Congratulations. I hope that you are still here. If you are still here, you can send an email to, let me find it, customer care at honeybeestamps.com and let them know that you were the winner from today's live. And they will send you over a gift card that hopefully you can use this weekend when we have the big sale. So I hope that that works. Let me go back and um what is it? Alicia at Ennerdale? I don't know how to say it, but I hope that you will bear with me. So you will just email Betsy there, and she will send you. Let me hide that back. She will send you over your gift card. So thank you guys for joining me. I think today's was probably the same length as always, but at least we've been finishing one project in each line. At least that counts for something. So I always appreciate your time. I know that is a precious, precious commodity, and I am privileged that you would want to spend it with me. And I will see you guys. Saturday, I have a video, but then Monday, I'll be there chatting with the premiere. So thank you guys so much. I will see you then. Bye.